Welcome back to another episode of RunitBack. I'm your host, Jameson Mangold. It's been a bit since we've seen you guys, but we are back and have a lot to cover today. Let's get into it. We're looking into what's happening in Lawrence with some volleyball, golf, and even the water ski team. And then in the pro world, we're featuring some football, MLB, and MMA. And finally, we have an exclusive look at what it looks like to be on the KU cheer team. Stick around for it all. That's to come now on Run It Back. The time has officially come for our Sunflower Showdown. I know I've been anticipating this since August, and finally the Wildcats will be attempting to take on Lawrence, Kansas. Jimmy is previewing what's to come in the long-awaited game of K-State versus KU. While we were all enjoying fall break, KU athletics were still working hard to bring home some victories and entertainment we all love. KU volleyball has been on a roll with quite a few recent wins, the latest against Houston last week. Mia will be looking into their most recent match that took place here at Allen Fieldhouse as their home opener and what's to come for this team. The KU water ski team has had a great season and recently traveled to nationals last weekend, so I sat down with them to get all the details. Heading from the lake to the tee box, we decided after our golf adventure we should leave it to the pros. Our golf team had a tournament earlier this week that Alex will be covering. First, we're headed to Mia.
Thank you, Jameson. It's rivalry week in the Sunflower State. The Kansas Jayhawks and Kansas State Wildcats renewed their long-standing battle this Saturday morning in Lawrence. Both teams are coming off a bye week, but they're heading in a very different vibes. Kansas is trying to regroup after a tough loss to Texas Tech, a game that slipped away early and ended up in a blowout. The Jayhawks will be looking to bounce back and prove that they can respond after adversity. Meanwhile, Kansas State is trending in the opposite direction. Kansas State picked up a big win over TCU before their bye. Thanks to a breakout performance from quarterback Avery Johnson, Johnson threw for 3 touchdown passes, showing his poise and confidence as he continues to grow into the role as K-State's leader on offense. And here's the headline everyone's talking about. Kansas State has won 16 straight against Kansas. 16. The Jayhawks haven't beaten the Wildcats since 2008. There's been total dominance from K-State in this rivalry, but KU is hoping that this year's matchup at home in front of a packed-out David Booth Memorial Stadium could be finally the one that turned the tide. For Kansas, it starts with execution. They just need a fast start on offense, limit the turnovers, and get their defense off the field on third downs. Expect KU to lead on their ground game early and try to control the game with tempo. Meanwhile, the Wildcats will look to keep on what's doing working balanced offense, a physical defense, and plenty of confidence from Avery Johnson under center. Kickoff is set for 11 a.m. this Saturday in Lawrence. It's the Sunflower Showdown, Kansas versus K-State, and once again, bragging rights across the state are on the line. I'm Jimmy Adeniri, and that's your look at KU football.
Thanks, Jimmy. It's going to be an exciting Sunflower Showdown-filled weekend. What's up, Jayhawk Nation? It's been a while since I've shed some light on what's going on in the women's volleyball world, but I'm excited to get you all caught up because boy has it been an exciting week. It only gets better tonight as the Sunflower Showdown is being hosted inside our very own Allen Fieldhouse for the first time in 12 years. KU and K-State will take on a highly anticipated rival game tonight at 8 p.m. Catching up to speed, Wednesday night we took on TCU at home, which was a previous conference loss turned into a 3-0 sweep against the Horned Frogs. Jovana Zelenovic led the Jayhawks with 14 kills and 3 blocks. Ryan Swanson came in hot, added 11 kills to the night, making it an overall team effort. Overall, the match made a big statement for Kansas in what's ahead. Coming off a 5-game winning streak, the Hawks are ready to take this momentum into tonight's matchup against K-State in another showdown, this time inside Allen Fieldhouse. Lucky for you all, I will be headed out to Allen Fieldhouse tonight to cover the showdown and even talk to some fans. Make sure to stay tuned for all things Sunflower Showdown and more next Friday. Let's hit the lake and talk KU water ski with Jameson.
KU water ski team, or the Spray Hawks, have been killing it on the water this year. They have had several tournaments, and after a road trip to Southern California last week, they did not come to play. After placing 4th in the Great Plains Conference and 5th in the Midwest, they headed to Nationals, where they ended up placing 2nd in the nation. Senior Eli Staver placed 1st overall for men's, and Kayla Leff placed 1st overall for women's. I sat down with Eli to get a glimpse at his water ski experience. Let's take a look.
Water ski team. So we are a 3-event competition water ski team. We compete in 3 different disciplines: slalom, trick, and jump. Easiest way to explain them is jump. You go off a big red ramp. Trick, you have 1 20-second pass. Do as many tricks as you can. Each trick has a set point value. The most tricks you can get and the most points wins. A slalom's a little bit more difficult. You have a course with 6 buoys and entrance and exit gates. Once you get to your set speed with running all 6 buoys, you start shortening the line, the rope. And once you get to the shortest rope length at your max speed, and you get the most amount of buoys, you win. So Nationals this year was out in Imperial, California, 5 miles north of the border of Mexico. So going into the tournament, the team was seeded 3rd. So we were the 3rd best team in the D2 division. There's 2 divisions, D1 and D2. We luckily made D2 and we're kind of seated pretty high. And the team did phenomenally. Everyone skied well. On the first day as we jumped, and everyone who skied got a personal best, which was awesome. Our president had a 25-foot personal best, which was awesome. I even took home the gold with the 112-foot jump, which was crazy. It was awesome.
Hard landing, but he pulls it through on one ski.
And we ended up completing the tournament with a 2nd place finish. So we finished better than we were seeded, which is awesome. I've made some lifelong friends on this team, some who are now alumni and some who are current students. Water skiing has always meant family to me. It's something that my family I grew up doing, and I've met some great, phenomenal people all over this country doing. And this team specifically in the past few years has just been awesome, very, very welcoming to anyone that comes, and it's awesome to be a part of.
Thanks, Jameson, for the water skiing update. I might have a new activity to try the next time I'm at the lake. Kansas women's and men's golf had a busy week across the country, where the men's team traveled to Florida and the women's team traveled all the way to Hawaii. The men's team finished out the Quail Valley Invitational on Monday, with the team finishing the tournament in 3rd at 838 strokes, which is 26 under par for the tournament. On Wednesday, the women's team finished their fall season in Hawaii, tying for 10th place at the Rainbow Wahine Invitational, finishing with rounds of 292, 297, and 294, a total of 19 over par. Senior Amy Deacock and sophomore Ebba Nordstrom led the way for the Jayhawks, both carding 2 over par and tying for 18th place individually. The women's team competes next in February, kicking off the spring season in California. But don't worry, Jayhawks, the men's team isn't done yet. They're heading over to Maui for their final tournament of the season, which tees off Monday. Stay tuned after this short break for all things pro sports.
From adversity, we rose. We made history and became pioneers, voyagers, champions, Jayhawks. And when our chant rises, haunting and hallowed, Jayhawks are telling the world what's near. Victory.
I've heard things are getting heated in the studio today as MLB season comes to a close, and Tyler and Attica have lots to say. Soon, they'll be debating over their thoughts on baseball. The U.S. government has been shut down for 23 days now, so Caden will be taking a look at exactly what that means for the sports world. As always, Sam knows all things MMA and will be covering recent events in the UFC world. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like October is the perfect month to watch NFL, so it's a good thing games are in high gear. Patrick is back with Thursday night's game. But before that, let's head to Tyler and Attica.
Thank you, Jameson. And to preview this fall classic matchup between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays, we got some hot takes going for both sides before the World Series starts tonight. So first off, I have to hear it all the time as a Dodgers fan, and it bugs me to no end how much people say this to me, but you hear it, that the Dodgers are just a pay-to-win team, Tyler. Now, what are your thoughts on this Dodgers and their absolutely enormous payroll?
I think they are a pay-to-win team by far. Spending $509 million combining their payroll and their luxury tax, it is just crazy to me. But with more money to spend, the Dodgers can sign multiple top free agents and absorb injuries or slumps. So it's a win in their favor. What about you?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. The Dodgers, they aren't just the highest spending team, but they spent their money wisely. You saw that teams like the Braves and the Boston Red Sox, they were just dumping their players. They didn't want to give Mookie that big contract in Boston, so they let him go. They traded him to the Dodgers as his deal was expiring, allowing them to extend him and win some World Series with him. And that's just a mistake on the Red Sox part. That's just wise spending from the Dodgers. And you see it from the Mets. They've spent the money on Lindor, on Soto, and they haven't been able to get there. They didn't even make the postseason this year. So it's not just that they're spending big, but they're spending wisely, and that's what's really putting the Dodgers above. Because if teams wanted to, they could get these players. They just haven't been. And so in my eyes, I just see it as smart management from the Dodgers being able to go out and get these guys.
I agree. I feel like they pick up all these great players like Shohei Ohtani, who's having an MVP season, who just probably had one of the greatest performances I've ever seen in my life. And I just feel like that pickup, LA Angels traded him away. They gave him away. And I just feel like you're right, but this money is out of hand.
Yeah, and one place Shohei Ohtani could have gone to, even took a flight to, was the Toronto Blue Jays. And they're also headlining this World Series matchup, definitely seen as the David in this David versus Goliath series. But their superstar, Vlad Guerrero Jr., has been having an absolutely lights out postseason. And I think if he keeps playing the way he has, he's leading the way in all of MLB postseason with 6 home runs, hitting his last one in Game 6 against the Mariners. If he keeps going the way he has been and this series goes 6, maybe even 7 games like I think it will, then I think he has a chance to have the best postseason performance we've seen since 2000. Tyler, what are your thoughts on that? Who's competition for Vlad in this case?
Well, personally, I think I go back to 2023 when the Rangers and Diamondbacks were playing, or before that when Rangers and Houston were playing. Adolis Garcia, the power bat himself. He had 8 home runs, and he broke the record with RBIs with 22, leading that postseason and getting the ALCS MVP. And he continued on with that in the World Series, even though Corey Seager won that World Series title, MVP title. I just feel like Adolis Garcia's match and Guerrero is just evenly level.
I just don't see that, Tyler. You're just a Texas fan reaching out for your boy. In mad respect, I'm doing that too for my Dodgers. Don't get that wrong. But I just don't see Adolis Garcia's run going the same way that Vlad's is. They took down the best team in the AL, in the Yankees, team that was in the World Series last year with the best hitter last year, and Vlad one-upped Aaron Judge. And so that storyline, the way the Blue Jays season has gone, they were the 20th best team according to ESPN and MLB.com going into the season, and they made it to the World Series. This is their series to win if they can topple that Goliath. And going into those predictions, I have the Dodgers winning in 6 games. Personally, I think it's going to be a great series, a lot closer than what some people may think it will be. But I do have the Dodgers ultimately winning. However, instead of any of their headliners getting the MVP, I see Will Smith. So catcher is the most important position on the field. We just saw it. We've seen it all year with Kyle Raleigh. Keep it in the year of the catcher. Will Smith taking home World Series MVP. I have Dodgers in 6.
I actually have Toronto in 7. Even though, despite Toronto being not from the U.S., I have Toronto in 7, and I have George Springer winning the MVP this year. Even though Vlad has had an unbelievable postseason, I just think Springer takes this away.
Yeah, Springer, the only guy who's been to the World Series before for this young Blue Jays team. Well, that's all we have to preview this World Series matchup starting tonight. And we'll send it over to hear a little bit about some of the government shutdowns and its effect on sports.
Thanks, Atakai. While most fans want a division between sports and politics, that's becoming increasingly difficult in today's politically charged climate, especially with a president who's quite vocal about a lot of topics that reside outside of the Oval Office. Most recently, President Trump has voiced his concerns over some of the current host cities for the upcoming FIFA World Cup and the Los Angeles Olympic Games. In both instances, Trump has said, quote, "If I think it's not safe, we're going to move it out of that city," an unprecedented move by both event standards. FIFA President Gianni Infantino later agreed with Trump, saying that it would be up to the governments hosting the World Cup up to decide public safety and security. The NFL also came under some presidential heat recently for its selection of Puerto Rican artist Bad Bunny as the upcoming Super Bowl halftime headliner. Trump was quoted saying that, "I don't know why they're doing it and that it's absolutely ridiculous." However, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell stands firm with the three-time Grammy winner, saying that he's one of the most popular entertainers in the world and that's what we're trying to achieve. It hasn't all been controversy, though, from the White House, as an executive order was signed mid-July prohibiting third-party pay-for-play payments to collegiate athletes in hopes to reel back the bidding war the collegiate landscape has turned into in recent years. The order also looks to protect women's and sports that don't generate revenue through mandated revenue sharing between collegiate athletes in hopes to protect less financially solvent programs, though it's still unclear at this time how that order will be enforced. Next up, Sam is bringing you all things MMA. Sam, take it away.
All right, thank you, Caden. The 9th season of Dana White's Contender Series concluded on Tuesday, a show that encapsulates some of the best stories and entertainment in sports. The toughest job interview on earth is its jingle. 10 weeks, a record-tying 46 contracts earned, a record-breaking 36 finishes, and lots more history for the show. Let's go week by week. On August 12th, the UFC's best pipeline for talent reopened the Octagon Gate. This was the quietest of all the nights, but one fighter rescued it. Base Sangor, Susarkayev, teammate of Hamzat Chimaev, destroyed his opponent round one with a mean kick to the liver. Just 4 days later, he would fight at UFC 319 in Chicago, the card Hamzat was headlining. Both Russian teammates won in the Windy City. Susarkayev is fighting again at 322 in less than a month. The premier prospect from Season 9, little doubt there, but not the only to already record a win in the UFC. Week 2 quickly ramped up the results with 4 consecutive finishes and contracts for all. Cam Rowston has to be the one mentioned here. A round 1 knockout win for the underdog Aussie would put his contract to work in Perth a month later. He went on to make it back-to-back round 1 KOs. Week 3 sent everyone home with a contract again. It delivered 5 finishes, 4 of which came in round 1. Abdul Rahman Yakiyayev did it the quickest, just 30 ticks off the clock. In Week 4, we saw Tommy McMillan earn a contract, teammate of star bantamweight Sean O'Malley. And fast forward to finish of the night, Sean Paul Labaznoyani, a head kick to wobble and punches to finish in the welterweight main event. On Episode 5, a 31-year-old elementary school teacher, Freddie Vidal, got a finish in what was an otherwise boring fight. It was just his 4th pro bout. He took it on 5 days' notice, and he missed weight by 4 pounds. Obviously wasn't awarded a contract, but was given another shot on the final episode. The 2 fights that followed both ended inside 40 seconds. Heavyweight Stephen Concrete Asplin got it done in 16. A man who went through so much to reclaim his health. He collects the 2nd fastest finish of Season 9 and the most unique post-fight message to the boss. In Week 6, the episode's biggest underdog, Ivo Baremniewski, utilized his Polish power for another flashy finish at the apex, 20 seconds off the timer. The most touching story was found in the main event, Spaniard Etcher Sosa winning by decision and winning a contract just days after his father had passed while Sosa was cutting weight. Episode 7 was the 3rd week to sign everybody. 6 contracts altogether. It's the 2nd female fight of the season. Saw both signed again. All the finishes were first-rounders. For Week 8, got to highlight Damian Pinas from Aruba with precision and lethality in round 1 to make it a 4-contract night on the final day of September. Week 9 had 3 finishes, but the most interesting fight was a decision. Ecuadorian Adrian Luna Martinetti taking on Russian Mark Vologden. These two produced one of the greatest fights ever, honestly. Heart, bloodshed, belief, and in payment both got signed, and each received the first bonuses ever handed out on the show, $25K for the road. The name to remember from Episode 9, however, Magomed Zainukov, a deadly Russian striker with John Pork lineage. He simply conquered in the main event. Finally, Episode 10 saw the return of Freddie Vidal, but in his second go-around, he crumbled. Others showed out. 2 first-time finishes. We got the first DWCS Suluev stretch submission and the first spinning elbow KO. When you thought the show couldn't top itself again, it did. And that was the MO of Season 9. In total, 51 bouts, 30 countries repped. The U.S. and Brazil, of course, best represented. 26-year-old Labasnu Yanni lands himself as a top prospect. American fighters were 11-16 overall. Nearly 60% of fights were won via knockout, and of the 36 finishes, 26 came in round 1. Average fight lasted just 7.5 minutes. Season 10 coming in August 2026. On to this week's Thursday Night Football recap. Bit of a snoozer this week, Patrick.
Thank you, Sam. I'm back with yet another Thursday Night Football recap, this time featuring the Chargers and the Vikings. From the jump, this game was an absolute domination on the defensive side of the ball for Los Angeles. After a quick stop to open the game, Justin Herbert led the team all the way down the field, finding a new rookie sensation, Oronde Gadsden, for a touchdown. The 5th-round pick out of Syracuse has been on an absolute tear, racking up 300 yards and 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. The Vikings could not get any momentum in this game, and following another 3-and-out, Los Angeles running back Kamani Vidal punched it in to put the Chargers up 14-0. Luckily, the Vikings found a little bit of life, setting up Will Reichard for a 54-yard field goal to put them on the board. To close the half, the Chargers' offense continued their domination. Justin Herbert led a 90-yard drive, ending with an absolute missile to Ladd McConkey. It seemed like almost nothing was going the Vikings' way. The offensive line couldn't seem to block anybody on the Chargers' front. Carson Wentz was battling through a little injury, but he was still just playing terrible, to be honest. The Chargers start off the second half with another field goal to put them up 24-3, as well as another quick stop to get the ball right back. But on the first play of the drive, Justin Herbert was in a giving mood, so he decided to give the ball right back to the Vikings in the red zone. Carson Wentz quickly found Jordan Addison for a touchdown to make the score 24-10. That was about the peak of the Vikings' momentum. The Chargers immediately stormed back down the field, and Trey Harris found the end zone for his first NFL touchdown. Down 31-10, and in desperate need to get back in the game, the Vikings took the field to answer against the dominant Chargers. Carson Wentz had other plans, however, and sailed this pass about 5 feet above Justin Jefferson's head to seal their fate. The Chargers added 2 more field goals and won the game 37-10. I firmly believe we have witnessed the end of the Carson Wentz Vikings era. Expect to see J.J. McCarthy back on the field for the rest of the year. That's all for Thursday night. We'll be right back after this quick break.
For students searching for a way to stay active in an outdoorsy way, the City of Lawrence has bike trails running in every direction, and with the new Bike Share program, we can stay in shape as we tour the sights of our beautiful city. Clinton Lake is only a short 30-minute bike ride away from Daisy Hill and has the most incredible sunset location in all of Lawrence. Walking campus may give you the KU calves, but biking can give you the KU thighs. Bike Lawrence today.
In the show, we're headed to the round table. Basketball season is gearing up for both KU and NBA, so we're heading to the courts on this one to see what's to come this season. And then Anna is giving a glimpse into what it looks like to not only be a college student, but a KU cheerleader as well, as she takes us on a day in the life of a cheerleader. First, let's head over to our round table.
Thanks, Jamison. A double overtime thriller between the Thunder and the Rockets kicked off what should be another fantastic NBA season earlier this week. I'm Caden, joined by Emil and Jimmy. Looking ahead and predicting the NBA's biggest awards and the 2 teams that will duke it out in the finals for the coveted Larry O'Brien Trophy. With that being said, some big names have already made their NBA debuts this week, such as VJ Edcombe and Cooper Flagg. Jimmy, who do you see in this 2-headed race for Rookie of the Year?
I'm going to go with VJ. I know it's only one game, but Cooper did not look good at all. So I'm going to take VJ. I think him going there with Joel Embiid and Paul George could really help him out, take some attention off of him.
Yeah, everybody's going to say Cooper Flagg, but I got a sleeper. Give me Yang Hansen, the big tariff. Everything about this guy just screams future 2010-5 All-Star. In the stands, when he got drafted 16 overall to a weak team. I mean, he sees the game just like Jokic. I mean, Chauncey Billups also got arrested for illegal pokering. Not related, but he could be playing more. Yeah, I got Yang Hansen.
Look, in all honesty, I agree with Emil. It's probably going to Cooper Flagg. He's been playing in so many minutes for the Mavs, but I think despite that, this should be a guy that you're looking at should be Ace Bailey. You know, I think that the Jazz team is terrible. They're probably gonna be the worst team. They're gonna be tanking for the next first overall pick next year as well. He is as elite athleticism. I think he should he should be a highlight reel in Utah this year. And then the saying is defense wins championships, and when you just stop, you need a go-to guy. Jimmy, who do you have bringing home the defensive hardware this year?
I'm gonna go with Victor Wembanyama. I feel like he should have won it last year, but those injuries happen. If he can stay healthy, it's all his.
Yeah, I agree with Jimmy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's Victor Wembanyama's to lose. If he doesn't get injured, he's winning it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably true. But I'm going to go with smaller guy. I like, seeing the guards like Drew Holiday, locking up some guys on the court, Draymond Green. So I'm going to go Jalen Suggs. They're the best defensive team in basketball for the past 3 years. He's a big reason why. He's big. If he ever figures out the offensive game, they're going to be a threat. Hopefully he does. But, yeah, I'm going to go Jalen Suggs on this one. I think, wins. I think they're going to have a lot of more wins this year with getting that acquisition of Desmond Bain. So. And then finally, we got MVP coming through. So who do you have this year?
I feel like I'm probably going to go with Victor Wembanyama. I was almost going to go Shea, but after seeing that first game, I think it's just going to – no one can guard Wemby.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think people are overlooking Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves. I think this is the year that they're finally going to go to the finals, and I think Anthony Edwards is going to be the main reason why.
Yeah, as a Bucks fan through and through, I think it's got to be Giannis on this one, honestly. That team is just not really set up for success outside of Miles Turner. There's no Dame. There's no Brook Lopez. Chris Middleton's gone. I mean, you have a starting backcourt that's going to have Gary Trent Jr., who's not too bad. He's good as a backup, I would say. But, I mean, it's Kyle Kuzma, which is quite possibly the worst NBA player in the NBA right now, let's be honest.
Don't forget about Patrick Williams.
Yeah, he's up there. Don't get me wrong. He's up there. He's going to be asked to do more than ever on this team. Defensively, offensively, he's probably going to be the guy bringing the ball up the court and setting the offense. So I think Giannis is going to probably lead the team and the league in most stat lines being of the year. And then looking for the finals matchup, who do you got?
I got OKC and Knicks. I think the Knicks looked really good against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and OKC, once they get J-Dub back, I think they've already looked really well this year.
Yeah, like I said before, I have the Timberwolves making the finals, and I also have the Knicks making the finals. They're the two losers from last season, and I think that this is the year that they get over the hump. It's going to be two unique teams getting a chance to win the championship.
Yeah, I'm going to go Nuggets and Hawks in this one. They had the two best offseasons. I know the Hawks didn't look great in the opener, but, I think the Nuggets are going to be amazing. And then, so next up, we have Anna looking at to her life and KU cheer.
Hi guys, I'm on the 10th, and I had my friend Tatum give you guys the scoop on all things KU cheer. So take it away, Tatum.
Whoa, whoa.
Good morning. It's currently 5:51. I have to be there at 7:30. Kickoff is at 11, I think. So get ready with me. Okay, the first question was, what's my favorite part about being on KU Cheer? It's hard to say, honestly. We're very lucky that the athletic program recognizes us in a lot of ways. There's room for improvement, of course, but our coaches are really supportive, I would say. And of course, my teammates, the people. I don't know if I would have made it this far without the people. The second question was, what's my favorite memory? It was my first time traveling to NCAA Nationals in Daytona, and that was just a really cool experience. We cheer for other sports year round, so getting that all to ourselves to compete in our sport is just so rewarding. Next question was, what year am I and what my role is, and I am a junior, and I am a back spot, side base, whichever one, on the all-girl team. Like, leadership-wise, if you've been on the team for a couple years, you're definitely valued as a leader on the team, as a vet, to kind of show the rookies around and help out with overall communication. Next question, what made me come to KU cheer? I think I chose KU, like, what kind of solidified it for me was when I visited, I fell in love with the campus, and I wanted to go to a bigger school if I could, to cheer a lot of sports, but also get to NCAA Nationals. That was a big goal of mine as well. and they preached a lot about mental health awareness. And at the time when I was choosing schools, I was struggling with my mental health a lot. So that kind of was a sign for me to pick here. My favorite routine is, and it's definitely my nationals routine from last year, because that was my first year being able to travel to nationals and compete at Daytona. Last question was what my favorite pregame traditions were, or my favorite part of pregame, and I usually get ready with all my roommates and we all jam out and do our makeup and everything together, but due to the fact that it's 5 a.m. we didn't do that today. So that's my usual favorite pregame tradition, or before we go out and do the actual pregame, we all jam in the locker room together. So those are my favorite. Thanks for getting ready with me. See you at the game.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Run It Back. We're going to go back to the studio to Jameson. Take it away, Jameson.
It's good we have such good cheerleaders to keep our energy up during games. I'm sure that won't be hard this week since KU will give K-State a run for their money. Hopefully we'll see everyone there for a Jayhawk win. That's all we have this week on Run It Back. Thanks again for tuning in for all things KU sports and the pro world. We'll be back next Monday at 2:30 and Friday at 10. Playmakers is live at 12 on Fridays, and Heartland Huddle is live at 6 p.m. on Mondays. Check out Media Crossroads for all things news. I'm Jameson Mangold, and I'll see you next time on Run It Back.